IKL showdown. It's going to take place over here in the KIS4 here directly from Jakarta. Thank you very much, everyone online, for your support. Let's jump straight into the banner pick. Dominator Esports is going to take the blue and Boom Esports is going to take the red.
Okay, so this opens up a couple of doors for the side of Dominator Esports. First pick, they're going to take away the pay. This is something that I think Carl has shown a high level of proficiency even from last year, right? So that's a great start in terms of the bans and picks. Boom Esports responds with the Luna. This is one of TNX's specialty heroes. We know he can perform on it.
The Luna yesterday showed up a lot of times. We know that TNX can really deal a lot of damage on that hero. Just taking it out is going to be a lot of respect towards him. Are they going to ban another jungler just to completely put the pressure on TNX? They decided not to do it and then just go and ban the Dharma. The Clash Laner option is going to be taken out.
Yeah, Boom Esports, Coach CN, he knows, he was watching yesterday. You don't give Tough Z that Dharma, right? He's just going to smack you in the face.
I shall protect this mortal world.
Lovely performances yesterday from Tough Z, right? I remember one over there in the mid lane where he just flashes in and then just straight up through mantra straight up against the wall 3 members of their opposing team.
Yeah, and they really capitalized off of that first big win in the first ever team fight of that game, right? So this is something that Boom Esports needs to watch out for, and I like this. We were kind of considering, hey, every time we see the Yangjin, the Dolia is definitely one of the considerations here, but Boom Esports, they snatch it away, and they take up the Forge Maiden as well.
Well, it's going to become a very trendy behavior in this whole week, right? As long as you can see the Yangjin being the first pick on the blue side, then immediately you just need to just take the Dolia and just break that combo apart. The Dolia is a better pick than the Yangjin, I would dare to say, because it's just a lot more flexible. You can pair it up with a lot more other heroes. Most likely, Dominator Esports already had this in mind, that this was going to be the result, and they answered back with a Mods and a Loam.
Right now, my consideration for Dominator Esports is, do you try to even up the heals for the side of DMT's draft, or do you go for tank, right? Because Boom Esports now, there's a couple of options that they can explore. The Musashi is a great answer against the Yangjin. They also have the great answer of Nerza for the anti-heal as well. So Boom Esports, this goes in line with like the reset from the Dolia's ultimate as well. So Dominator Esports, I'm curious what's the next plan here.
They decide to take the Haya out of the conversation, and then Boom Esports just keep putting pressure on the mid laner options. They denied the Ganon Mo, and they denied the new that we just saw in the previous match had amazing performances.
Yes, and even though, you know, heroes like the Liang are open, it's not the most ideal choice, right? Because Boom Esports, they have quite a lot of disruptions. You can stop that ultimate coming in for the power of word control. So Boom Esports, I like this kind of strategy they're going with. And they're going to play safe and slow Lady Jun with the Cascada pick. You don't need a lot of farm on her. She just needs to make sure the CC lands.
Lady Chen and that CC, it's going to be one of the targets of that Dolia reset of the ultimate, right? Like that Lady Chen being able just to use twice that ulti, such a gigantic area of effect. It's going to deal a lot of control, and later on in the game is going to deal a lot of damage. I can see that as being one of the main initiations coming in from Boom Esports. On Dominator Esports, they decide to go with the Rose Fencer, the Charlotte, and the Fate Turner with the Hano.
All right, so which draft are you in preference with at this point? I'm going to tell you mine first. I like the Dominator Esports lineup because of the Hano pick, right? The Fate Turner, if they don't get the burst damage potential from the side of Boom Esports, once Dominator Esports gets the save in from the stuns coming in from the side of the Long, the knockups from the Rose Fencer Charlotte, and the stuns from the Morts as well, then essentially it becomes a 4v5.
I don't have one of the two of them that I like a little bit more, but from the two of them, I can see a lot of sustained and very long fights. There's going to be a lot of very, very long fights. I don't see much of burst damage happening. I don't see fights just lasting less than 10 seconds. It's going to be long. I can see a lot of I can see the tempo of the game being a lot slower at the beginning. I don't think that we're gonna be seeing a lot of invasion in the first 2-3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think this is a very macro-heavy game, right? It's all about the turrets before the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
Once we have the 10-minute mark, the Shadow variants, this is where the Shadow Overlord is going to come into huge play. Because when the fight starts, whoever wins the team fight essentially gets quite a few things for free. The camps, the buffs, the turrets as well.
Yeah, exactly. So if we know that the team fights are going to be the main objective of this game, as long as I can start capitalizing from small advantages, I don't need to actually fight you. What are those small advantages? Well, can I just kind of like steal one little camp away? Can I just deny you to final hit minion wave? Can I just start just building on those little things? And that, as time passes, that might just start just building the gap that I need to in order to fight. If the gap is not there, I don't see one of the two teams just having a very clear advantage in terms of composition compared to the other.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think at this point, let's talk about the junglers a little bit, because TNX's jungling speed is definitely not going to be as fast as Carl, right? Carl has the release on the Agudo, which means that he actually gets one camp for free really quickly. And then we'll take a look at the rotations, right? I don't think they want to be aggressive and go for the steals, because both compositions don't really have like a early game advantage in terms of team fight.
Yeah. There's not a clear early game priority coming in from any of these two. This is going to be Dominator Esports against Boom Esports. Dominator is going to go from left to right on your screens, and then Boom Esports is going to go from right to left. Ladies and gentlemen, let the first IKL against PKL showdown of 2026 start right now.
Okay, we are wrong. Carl is going straight for the steal, gets it first. And right across the map, I like what Migi is doing. He's actually stopping the attempt from the side of DMT on the top side of the map. And this is success for Boom Esports. Great start.
This is why Honor of Kings is such a lovely game. The unpredictability in here. We know that this is based on the composition, what they're supposed to do. It's not what they are completely going to do. And look at that, TNX wants to answer back, just coming in, but he does not have the speed, Kin.
Okay, he will get it, but right now it's about the first blood. Here comes Carl as well, looking for the opening as well. Dive by draw, they're looking for an opening. Tatsuri uses the flash, catches all three, but there is no follow-up. And Boom will be able to escape for the time being. TNX is low, the flash comes and goes blood! Going to the side of Boom Esports, a great start. PKL starts strong.
TNX comes in, he sees that he loses his red buff as he tries to stop the bleeding. Jumps in, but then bites a little bit too much. Takes the steal, but he's unable to run away with the bag.
No, this is a double whammy, right? Because right now there is no buffs for the side of TNX. And now Migi gets both buffs from the side of DMT. Carl is able to set up once again. The ultimate's going to be used for the side of Jill, but he's falling quite a bit low. Boom knows not to overextend. They will make it out. Just a poke.
Well, remember, look at the screen. We're going to have the CD keys right over there, just showing to everyone. The first one, Sunblaze, the CD key, and the second CD key is going to be Flare Up. Remember to go online, get on the game, use the CD keys to get all these freebies that we are trying to bring you in this KIS4.
Okay, I have a big concern, Isaac, and it looks like Joe is not able to tank, right? So if Boom is able to stretch this goal lead, then Joe effectively becomes useless in the team fights. He's going to be cannon fodder.
No, exactly what we talked about in the beginning, right? Like, Gerald right over there, you see how he had to proc his ulti just to run away. That comes in on a cooldown, and at the same time, it puts him in a position where it sends a message to Boom Esports. It sends a message that he is vulnerable, and that they might want to just try to put pressure straight into him.
Yep, and this is a pattern that's going to emerge, right? Then this is one thing that will give Boom the confidence. We're going to force out your Fate Rewind right before big objectives, and suddenly the power spike in terms of damage is not going to be there from Jill.
Only time will tell right now. We're going to come into 30 seconds for the first big fight. It's going to be the objectives. Right now, after Dominator not having an advantage and losing some of the resources, going in for that first Tyrant is going to be critical for them to kind of like balance the game one more time.
Yeah, they definitely need to find a balance now. 15 more seconds, we're going to have the first neutral objectives come out. The rotations coming in, Miggy as well as Carl, they're going to try and put a little bit more pressure on the top lane, which means that Space Sprite teleportation will be used, and Boom should get priority over this first Tyrant of the game.
Look at that, it's going to be a 2 against 1. Kind of try to put pressure on the turret. They do not want to engage as Gerald is going to come in and join the party.
This does not seem like the right choice here. DMT going to benefit off of that decision by the side of Boom Esports. Gets the first Tyrant of the game. And CC now putting a little bit of damage on the draw. Will be a standoff at this point. Boom needs to find something across the map. And that's exactly what Carl is doing. Gets the release on the Azure Golem. What more value can he find?
Well, the Azure Golem is going to just be a consolation prize for them, as they could have actually take control of the Tyrant. They did have a little bit of an advantage, but he decides to do that. And Dominator Esports just completely replies back by stealing his, so there is no actual winning here for Boom.
Yeah, and I like this composure from the side of DMT, right? Tufts actually manages to secure his own camp, so this is going to dwindle the growth that Boom are looking for. At the same time, if you take a look at what's happening, DMT actually have a 1,000 goal lead going on right now.
Yeah, just out of nothing, out of thin air, out of just that little decision in there, like immediately just bank in 1,000 gold advantage, and that's going to be critical for them right now. Boom Esports had the advantage of just taking the first blood on TNX, and then they did not capitalize on top of that.
And this is why I like the new Dominator, right? Look, they're funneling the farm, not to TNX at this point. They're putting it to CC. He has one of the highest gold on the roster here. And Boom right now getting chunked down bit by bit from the side of DMT.
Has destroyed a tower.
Not even 6 minutes in the game, and that mid lane turret is going to fall. Dominator turning tables around. Carl is going to be put some pressure, because Top C, look at him, he does not know that there's anyone in the brush. He needs to run away.
It's a Charlotte, right? Even if a Charlotte gets caught, you know that Charlotte will be able to slip and slide out of dangerous situations. And the way that DMT is controlling the map, absolute beauty here. CC gets another T1 for free.
I wonder in which moment of this match happened that Boom Esports kind of just lost control of it. Because it just looked like Boom Esports was doing such a good job, but then on paper only, because look at that.
You know, it really came down to that first exchange, right? That neutral objective going to the side of DMT and having no return value from the side of Boom. That was the pain and critical point, turning point for the side of DMT. You can see they're playing with fire here. L is extremely low, but he does have the flash. The jump in from the side of Tufts. This is a repeat of yesterday. A solo kill onto the jungler. Carl's the first one to take a fall. More to come. Miggy as well, the next one for the side of Boom Esports, as DMT just assume control of the Gorge.
DMT showing us that yesterday was not only luck. Right now, with this very good performance, the way that they came in all together, they find Carl right over there, sent him back, and then Miggy had to join him. An amazing 2-0 trade for DMT.
And this is where it gets a little bit more difficult for Boom, right? Because yes, I love the Chisha to bits, but you need to get some stacks with her basic attack before you really unleash that magical beast form for Danny. And when you're behind on farm, you're not allowed to touch the minions. You don't get the free stacks. You cannot go into your ultimate form.
Look at right now, Danny on only 4,300 gold and being very behind in terms of that.
Okay, attempt by the side of Boom, just a poke and prod for now. Members are falling low on the side of DMT, but they will not be able to find any more room. Boom Esports unable to force DMT into an awkward position, and right now it's just status quo.
Now the problem right now is going to be Carl. He does not have any resources, as right now DMT is just cleaning the whole jungle so quickly, and Carl's going to start slowing down a lot. You can already see the Yanjian just taking about a 700 gold advantage in terms of against him, and a game that Carl started winning.
This is very important, right? Because Kao needs to be the damage dealer. And if you take a look at the tankiness on the side of Boom Esports, they don't really have it. Now, at the 8.5 minute mark, Joe will get his hands onto that Tyrant for the game, as Tufzy is going to try and make the split push happen as well. DMT just all across the gorge at this point.
Well, it might not look like a lot right now, but good news for Boom Esports is that Danny just got his Doomsday online, and that's going to give him a little bit of an advantage. The kind of like the item that he really needed a minute ago.
So that's like the first part of the formula. He needs time, right? And right now, CC is going to be going on a 1v1, but here comes the backup as well. L looking for the finishing blow. Can they escape? Miggy, you are caught! And with that, DMT get another one for the books. 2-1, 3-1 at this point as they maintain a 5,000 gold.
Big problems in here is that CC is the one going to be claiming that kill as well, and that is going to keep just building wider and wider the gap in between marksmen. Right now, CC on that loom, I'm waiting for the item board just to show up because I can imagine that he's at least 2 to 3 items done.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation for them. And bear in mind, CC is able to really get a lot of free damage in. Anytime he has his ultimate, he can be super greedy.
Blue team has destroyed a tower.
Well, he needs to be a greedy player right now, right? Look at that, the items are just starting to show. The Axe of Torment is already online, a 2-0-1 right now for that loom.
Yeah, he's at 7,000 gold. He's close to over 1,000 in front of Danny on this Chicha here. And he's very close towards the Overlord's Might. This is the most damage in a physical item in the physical attack category.
Dark Tyrant has been
10 minutes of the
defeated.
game, the Dark Tyrant is going to go for DMT. It is looking very, very grim right now for Boom Esports. Right now, DMT knows that they have an advantage and they want to try to come in and put some pressure. There's no minion wave from the Clash lane, but let's turn our eyes to the mid lane.
Yeah, they influence them and they escort them to the back of the base. Here comes Boom. They're going to make an attempt here. Ultimate dropped by the side of Kao. Unable to find too much damage onto the side of DMT. And right now, the pressure has swung in favor of DMT, looking for some free damage. They do force out the Infinite Vastness. Great job and defense from the side of Boom Esports, but they need to do much more.
They do have a good composition in terms of trying to defend their high ground right now, Boom Esports, right? Like they can still use Tatsuri's Lady Jen, they can use Carl's Agudot in order to defend that. But for how long time can they do that? It's going to be one wave after the other.
Yep, 6,000 in terms of advantage it's a whole item for the side of DMT, right? And of course, this advantage now is scarily big because CC, he's already at 8,000. Just 4 more thousand, this guy's going to be 6 slaughtered, and he's going to be a big problem.
Siege Breaker, Frostar's Embrace, and Axe of Torment right now for CC. You do not want to be in a 1v1 against the man. DMT turned their eyes over here for the Overlord into what they would want to be just the goal, the resource that they need in order to take the high ground.
And you take a look at what TNX is doing. This is a very different TNX from last year, right? The new TNX, he is so calculated, he is so disciplined. TNX used to dive like crazy. Right now, this is a team play. DMT is looking like a much stronger team.
You make a very interesting point right over there, right? Because right now TNX, it's got to become the leader of the team. And as the leader of the team, you cannot be having those little mistakes, just diving in too early or diving in too much. You cannot die as when you're the leader.
This is what I like about the new team, right? They're so focused on sharing the advantage that they have across all the different players. Tufts is a problem, CC is a problem, and now you have too many targets to look at, and TNX and CC will benefit from that advantage that's given.
The 3 waves of Vanguards are going to come in, are going to clash in at the same time. Pressure is going to come mostly from the farm lane. The turret is going to fall. Right now, it's going to be one more Vanguard in the mid lane. Look at that.
All right, they're going to try to tumble. Carl will make it out safely, but the towers are not. And with that, here comes the Fate Rewind. The land the stacks of passive onto the different members of Boom. This might not be the end, but it is a painful experience for the side of Boom Esports. DMT, they got what they came for. 2 T3s in quick succession. They move out.
It is tough. They want to come in and try to clean the Vanguards, but it's impossible because L using the Cannon Blast is keeping them at bay. They cannot jump in. My Yin's trying to find the angle, trying to find where CC is, but there is nothing that they can do against the poking.
That's just half his name. Full name is El Diablo right now. He is just putting a lot of pain on the members of Boom Esports at this point. T3 on the top is already halfway done. And with the reset coming in, 9 more seconds, Shadow Tyrant available for the taking. DMT, this could be the finishing blow.
DMT, they know that they have it in their hands. 90% of this game is already done. DMT just needs to make that final push. They do not need to rush it. They want to take the dragon, and they just have the buff. It's going to be an 80 seconds buff that they will take in. Hopefully they can take advantage of this and go and get that final fight.
I think they can, right? Boom Esports, we talked about it. They want long, extended fights. That's where the true value of Doomsday comes in. But now with the Tyrant buff, DMT can essentially end the fight in a short amount of time.
Look at that. Waves are coming in. The super minions in the mid lane are going to be only a distraction, as we can see the cannons over there on the clash lane. Can the turret be safe? The minion waves cannot be cleaned. The infinite bastion is going to be pro.
Alright, it's going to be the finishing blow. Tatsuri gets blown up. Fate Rewind on the side of Joe as well. This could be the final blow. They're waiting for the next wave of minions to come in. 4 members on the side of Boom Esports trying to get it. Miggy jumps in the middle of 4, unable to find the value. Too much damage coming in from the side of DMT. And with that, Dominator, they take game number 1.
Dominator showing in here why Boom Esports shouldn't have picked them. Dominator comes, they see, they turn things around, and they take the victory. It's going to be a 1-0 lead for the boys from the IKL.
Yep, this is a very impressive performance, a very stable performance. That's even scarier, right? It felt like there were no gaps for DMT's lineup here.
It was very beautiful to see how they did not depend that much from the Yanjian, for example. They did not depend that much on the Charlotte. At the beginning of the game, the Hano had a very tough time. But then as things just turned around, we can actually see how CC and that Loom was just dealing so much damage, and they just being critical and taking the spotlight.
I hope you noticed Joe's face as he went into the room just now. His face, that is a face of focus and confidence. Whatever statement he was making yesterday, they know what was going to happen today, for sure.
It was a very direct comment, man. I don't think that anyone in there did not pay attention to that. He comes in and then he says, well, if you chose to beat us, then we're going to have to beat you. It's just that simple. That's one of the things that I really like about this KIS4. The opportunity that Boom Esports and Blacklist had in order to choose who they wanted in their groups. That is one of the things that I hope that is going to stay with us for a little longer, because it gave completely a different level of storylines right now.
Yes, for sure. And this is something that's very important, because it's not just individual players with their titles online. This is also about a regional advantage. You want the IKL, for IKL fans, of course, to be over on top of PKL. But here's the scary thing about Dominator's game just now. I can't tell who's going to be MVP.
No, I cannot tell who's going to be the MVP either, man, because everyone played such an amazing game. Like, everyone was really doing their part. I do believe that this was just like 5 members just that knew exactly what their role was, and they were able just to deliver what needed to be done. It was not even a game of a lot of fights and a lot of kills, right? Like we talked about this at the beginning of the game.
Yes, it really was just the macro game. This is what we expected. But for me personally, the way that DMT executed their macro game was so spectacular. CC got the gold advantage because he was always free farming, got 2 T1s for free, one at the bottom, one at the top. And once you have the gold advantage, boom, there's no way to come back.
Oh no, there was nothing for them to do. There was nothing. Like, they were just slowly. It's just the same as if they would have been in a room where you're just taking the oxygen out of it. So they slowly were just suffocating until the last moment that their crystal just blew up. There was nothing that they could have done in terms of that. when you analyze the gold, it was never just a very big spike. It's just a very straight line, very slowly, very continuous, very steady up until the last 10,000 gold advantage at 15 minutes.
Yes, and you could definitely see the difference. Danny's options started getting smaller and smaller, right? Because as a Chicha, you want to be able to dive in, use your ultimate, get the lifesteal. But you're going up against members that not only have stuns, they have good sustain as well, right? Charlotte on this Tufts taking this Charlotte to a completely different level. He was pulling members out individually so the DMT could take the macro game up to a next level.
TNX, even though did not have a beautiful numbers, even though did not have the digits that we would be expecting from him, I would say that he performed really well on what his responsibility was, right? Which was to control what Carl was doing. Do not let Carl just to really speed up. And Carl was not able just to, in any moment, to kind of like snowball an advantage.
Yes, and this is the true definition of team play, right? Joe, let's be honest, he had a horrible start to the game. He was constantly pressured, came close to dying so many times, and still DMT, they told him, hold on, we will get the advantage back.
Here's where you can see the big gap, how the big gap actually comes up. It was what CC could do against Danny. Danny on that trap, sadly, it's a hero that needs to have an advantage and needs to have items in order just to be able to be dominant. On the other side, CC was able just to catch on very little kills. Like there were only like 4 kills in this whole game, and they were able just to funnel them towards CC. And that is where the door opened for the whole Dominator victory.
Yeah, I felt like Boom needed a tankier pick, right? Maybe not a Dolia. I think it would have been great if someone could hold the damage so that Danny could come to life. But here we go, MVP Jill. This is why it does not matter how you start, it matters how you end. 1-0-2, he was the definition of a comeback, going with grit to get this win into the bag for DMT.
Heino, the Fate Turner, is going to be given the MVP to Gerald. Congratulations. He did not have to play that Heino in a defensively manner in the whole game. So that was actually really nice to see. As you can see that Heino in the first parts of the game, it was completely targeted.
Yeah, this one was kind of surprising because that first blood came in the form of Boom Esports. They actually took TNX out, and it was a horrible start for them.
Look at this, like in the moment that Dominator just wanted to take on, to push everyone back, it was very easy for them. They did not even have to take the kills. Just their presence onto the high ground put on so much pressure on Boom Esports that they just needed to just run away. Look, no one in there just can really, literally just stand. Everybody needs to just go back to their fountain, and then just the turrets and the minions would just finish the kill.
And I think the IKL teams have figured out how to play against the PKL teams, right? PKL teams, since last year, have been known as the team fighting region. They like to brawl it out. And DMT said, we will allow you to have a little bit of a skirmish, but we will play the macro game instead.